Greetings, welcome back to Plug Pro's complete guitar course for beginners. My name is Antonio Melendez, and today we're going to be continuing where we left off last lesson and learning the rest of the solo guitar piece, Greensleeves. I'm going to run through just once the melody we did last time and then show you where to pick up. So where we left off, you had just learned this. And then we're going to pick up from there. So, right after you hit the last two notes, which is the open B and the open G string, we're going to go second finger, second fret on the note A, hit that, then we're going to hit an open B, followed by a first finger on C. When I hit that first finger on C, I'm also hitting the open A string. So that part again was A, B, C. So just run through that a couple times. Then right after that, we're going to go back to that note A with the second finger, hit that twice, hit the first finger, first fret of the same string, and then back to that second fret. So up to that part. The very next part is going to be an open E string, open B string, with our first finger on G sharp, which is the first fret of the G string, and our second finger on E on the D string, which is the second fret. And we're going to go. Okay, so again, that second part we just learned right now. On the right hand, when I'm doing the single notes, I'm walking with my index and my middle finger. When I get to this part right here, where I'm doing the open E and the open B, I'm using my thumb and my ring finger. Thumb on E string, ring finger on B. And then the first finger and second finger. So it's basically just walking from ring, thumb, middle, and then index. So that part again. So if we add that on to the first half of the melody we learned last lesson, here we go together. Okay, so that's the whole first phrase for the song Greensleeves. The second phrase repeats the introductory part of the first phrase. So we're going to just repeat that again. So you should know that already. And the only new part for this second phrase is and what we're going to do with that is it's very similar. You're going to notice that the song consists of two introduction parts that have two endings. So the first part, that's hard to explain, here we go. First part is right here. And then we have an ending. Then we do that same first part again. And then followed by another ending. And you're going to notice that pattern when we learn the rest of the song. So the second ending is going to be similar to the first, small variation. We're going to do that same thing with the second finger on the A, then the open B again, and then first finger on C. Then we're going to do open B again, back to the A. Then we're going to hit it. First fret G sharp on the G string and the open E at the same time. Okay, so all I did was again. Right after that, you're going to reach your pinky over to the fourth fret of the D string, then back to the first fret of the G, and then end with the A and an open A. So that whole second ending is and all I did was for those last couple notes was hit a E with the second fret on the D string, third finger C on A string, and then open A. So the whole first section of Greensleeves is going to go like this. Okay, so that should be, if you practice really hard, it should be pretty easy to get this next part. Okay, so that, again, that was the first phrase, the first two phrases in Greensleeve. Greensleeve is comprised of 4 phrases, and then you repeat the first 2 at the end, so it's a total of 6 phrases, if you just keep it simple and just play it as written. The next section starts off with the 3rd fret on the top string, 3rd fret on the bottom string. That's G and G. And what I do is I have my thumb on the top string, index, middle, and ring on the bottom 3 strings, and I just pluck them all at the same times. And then I do it again. Followed by a first finger reaching down to the 2nd fret of the E string and hitting E, open. So I went. And those are in 8th notes. If you noticed on the sheet music, it's 8th notes, so they're going to go quicker. Okay, so that's how you're going to play that part. Then we're going to keep that middle finger on the G on the top string, move the ring finger to the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and block those chords. And now this time I'm only hitting the G on the top string and the open G string and 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the D string. So it's those 3. So I'm going first part, and then that part. Then followed by that, I just do open B and open G. So that whole beginning of the 2nd phrase. Then we're going to do the same ending we did on the first phrase. So you already know this part. I'll do it, explain it again slowly, but you already know this part and you'll recognize it. You start here. So you'll know you recognize that. I hope you do. So here's the 2nd phrase again. Then we do the same thing again. And then the 2nd ending. And that's the whole song. Of course, you would repeat the first part again, but that's it. And that's just the basic melody of both parts of Greensleeves. You'll notice it's pretty simple, and it's a good exercise. It's going to get your fingers used to moving around in your right hand and your left hand, doing different things at the same time. So I suggest you practice it a lot, get used to playing it. When you're watching TV, play it, and try to do it mindlessly, just something you do, and it becomes natural. It's really good for your fingers. Okay, so I'll play the whole thing at tempo, and one more time so you can hear it. And that's Greensleeves. The next thing you would probably do once you really got it soaked in your soul and you can play it all the time without even thinking about it would be to start creating your own variations of it. It basically will allow you to play that song a lot longer, but without repeating the same parts over and over again. The good variations stick to the melody, but they vary a little bit, and that's the whole idea of variation. So I'll show you some of the variations that I composed for it. I started with the same chord progression, which is and I'll explain how I figured this out later in future lessons, but here's one of the variations I did. And that's basically one phrase of a variation. So you could play that in the middle before you play the first two phrases of the song as the ending. You could play it like part A, part B, do a variation, and then do part A again for the ending. So I encourage you to just experiment playing around with some of the notes that are close by. I encourage you to listen to other versions of Greensleeves, to just have fun with it and just enjoy playing it all together and creating alongside it. So that's going to wrap up this lesson, which is all about Greensleeves. I hope you practice hard, and I hope you enjoy it, and stay tuned for the next lesson. We'll be discussing rhythms and chords and stuff. All right, hope to see you again. Thank you. Antonio Melendez here.